Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in the show today, U.S. Tzu Chi volunteers are conducting relief distribution in various areas in both New York and New Jersey. As Taiwan only produces 33% of the rice needed, we take a look at government's plans to reduce dependency on foreign imports. And in our feature reports on Taiwan's unique trade, we meet a group of maintenance staff who ensures the wind turbines run smoothly. We start off the show in the United States as we enter the third and final day of large-scale distribution in Staten Island, New York. A total of 144 Tzu Chi volunteers from the United States and Canada successfully distributed relief aid to 2,112 families.
On this last day of relief distributions here in Staten Island, New York, 144 Tzu Chi volunteers hope to serve all the residents in the shortest amount of time, so that they do not have to wait too long in the cold.
Everyone arrived early and we started at 8 a.m. because we don't want the residents to have to wait in the cold.
First, the volunteers verify the details of each resident.
How many tenants you have in your house?
I verify the details and make sure that no one is coming back to receive relief supplies for a second time. This is the most important checkpoint.
The volunteers explain the spirit of Tzu Chi's bamboo coin bank before handing out cash cards to the residents.
We want them to know that this money comes from the love of many people around the world, and many Tzu Chi volunteers worldwide are still canvassing for donations for the disaster victims. We hope that they will put this money to good use and also pass on this love.
Everyone has the ability to give. That's why we want to be here to help and give what we can.
It's been 2 weeks, and in these 2 weeks, we have witnessed good sides of human beings. Everyone is in a race for compassion, and no one wants to miss out on the opportunity to serve others. It's people's kindness and compassion that makes New York beautiful.
It restores your faith in humanity. There's beautiful people in this world. This is a good cry. I've had a lot of bad cries. This is a good one. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Speaking about Tzu Chi on stage and capturing inspiring and moving stories off stage through his camera lens is Ling Jingchen. In the aftermath of Sandy, Ling Jingchen has captured thousands of photos of Tzu Chi's relief work and uploaded these pictures onto CNN, sharing the stories of Tzu Chi volunteers and Sandy victims with the rest of the world.
Relief work used to happen in other countries. This time, the disaster was right at our doorstep. New York is considered to be an affluent place, so I was astonished to see people who carry Gucci handbags in the distribution queue. It goes to show a disaster does not distinguish between rich or poor.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy, Tzu Chi volunteers have formed a deep affinity with the residents of Staten Island, an affinity which will continue on long into the future.
In Brooklyn's Garrison Beach Elementary School, Tzu Chi continues to hand out cash cards to disaster victims. Besides the volunteers, Tzu Chi from Boston and New York also joined the aid distribution. Here's more.
At Garrison Beach Elementary School in Brooklyn, Tzu Chi volunteers are conducting a second round of cash card distribution. This time around, they are also joined by Boston volunteers and New York Tzu Chins.
This time, we invited Tzu Chins to join us as they normally do community-based work, yet they haven't participated in any relief work. We wanted to let them know how fortunate they are so they can appreciate, cherish, and cultivate blessings. They indeed are having a great time.
Master Zheng Yan says that Tzu Chins are our hope for the future. Therefore, we must rely on them. Speaking of Tzu Ching's sign language performance, Brother Si Xian suggests that at each distribution area, Tzu Chins must be led by some sisters.
At the distribution site, Tzu Chins are passionate about introducing Tzu Chi to the disaster victims. As they come face to face with the disaster victims, they are also learning something that is not taught at school.
We're here to talk with them and hand out cash cards at the same time that we listen to their stories.
I did intake, so I was talking to the clients and helping them get their gift cards and their blankets.
那我们真的是看到孩子们能够来。
We find these kids really have a good time talking with the elderly. As they are talking with the residents, they are learning as well. We hope that they can put the Dharma into their hearts and into action as they introduce Tzu Chi to others.
Following the 2 days of aid distributions, many Tzu Chins are feeling the fatigue. However, they are still all smiling as they know the residents who received the cash cards will use this love as they face the challenges ahead.
As Thanksgiving falls on this Thursday, November 22nd, it also marks the 1-month anniversary since Hurricane Sandy brought severe destruction to residents along the East Coast. Hoping to bring some warmth to the victims on the eve of Thanksgiving, volunteers from the Tzu Chi, New Jersey chapter mobilized over 100 volunteers to ensure the last relief distribution would end on a perfect note.
Loading boxes of relief supplies off the truck one by one. This is the scene at Tzu Chi's final large-scale distribution before Thanksgiving. The distribution is taking place at a middle school in Berkeley Township, and Tzu Chi volunteers from the New Jersey chapter are all here to help out.
In Maryland and North Carolina, we were all safe from harm, but we share the victims' pain and sorrow, so we want to give what we can.
Thanks to strong teamwork, the distribution venue is set up within an hour. Even down to the smallest details, the volunteers make sure nothing goes unseen.
We have to tap these electrical wires down so that people won't trip over them when they walk past.
Having experience from previous distributions helps to maximize overall efficiency.
In the registration area, we had about 8 volunteers here yesterday. Today, we will increase it to 10 volunteers, and if need be, we will delegate more people.
At the distribution, Tzu Chi Global Volunteer Coordinator Huang Sixian came from New York to help out. Apart from requesting that Tzu Chi volunteers continue monitoring the midterm needs of disaster victims, he also brought with him blessings from Master Zheng Yan.
Only one word. Master asked me to tell everybody of you, God bless America, God bless every one of you. If you feel love today, please pass it out. If you feel warm today, pass it out. That's it. Guys, get rolling, okay? Thank you very much.
Perhaps it is because Thanksgiving is just around the corner. At the distribution site, warmth and family spirit fills the air.
God bless you. Okay.
It's amazing to see kindness. All these people took time away from their families, from their loved ones to be here today. So I'm just overwhelmed.
Your organization has done wonders for our community. I mean, just for able to come here today and provide a gift card and needed supplies, toiletries, a blanket, scarf, and I mean just hope. And that's what our residents need.
Overcoming all obstacles, this relief distribution helped 326 families. With love and care, the volunteers will accompany the disaster victims through this unforgettable Thanksgiving.
Also in the United States, at Berkeley Township, New Jersey, Tzu Chi volunteers held their last aid distribution before Thanksgiving. On the scene, many youngsters who came to pick up the relief supplies were inspired to help raise funds. Children who came with their parents also joined the volunteers' rank and helped the disaster victims with a smile.
Handing out aid supplies and giving out warm hugs, these young volunteers are like angels, bringing a ray of happiness for residents.
And slow down to bow, thank you. Okay? Okay, good. She's a good hair. She's so kind. Oh, get a big hug. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
What's the secret to take a bow?
That you have to smile and keep your hands like this.
Can you show us?
Kids who follow their parents to the distribution venue also want to learn Tzu Chi's spirit of service.
I feel really good about it because we're giving them the stuff that they need.
I want them to work as a volunteer so they can appreciate the sense of community, that they can understand the impact that they, even as 7 years old, can have on the community.
I'm happy to be a volunteer because I'm helping the people that don't have things to, they don't have things. I can give them the bag so they can have some stuff.
17-year-old Ryan was also inspired by Tzu Chi's spirit and takes a bamboo bank to respond for those in need.
Thank you very much. Do either of you fine ladies have any money you'd like to donate to Tzu Chi? Thank you very much, ma'am. You're welcome. I appreciate it.
Ryan thinks that he should do something for the other victims.
I like to think that I'm very fortunate, and maybe that's why I decided that I felt I should help, because I'm a lot more fortunate than other people.
Thank you very much.
Another Puerto Rican boy also joins the effort.
God bless you. Thank you.
After picking up their aid supplies, many of the disaster victims fill in volunteer forms, hoping to join Tzu Chi's ranks in the future.
Currently, Taiwan's yearly dependency on imported rice is 140,000 metric tons, with a low self-sufficiency rate of 33%. To help reduce the country's dependency on foreign imports, the government is enforcing a new plan to increase the domestic production of grains.
In Taiwan, except for the domestic production of red beans, green beans, and rice, all other grains have to be imported from overseas.
We import soybean, buckwheat, wheat, oats, and corn. Mostly it's from the United States, as they produce a lot of it, so the price is low.
Because we are part of a free trade network and many agricultural items are being imported, our own domestic agricultural industry is being replaced.
Taiwan's import rate for corn is as high as 92%, and wheat is 100% imported. Being highly dependent on other countries for its food supplies, the fluctuation of gasoline prices and weather conditions can drastically affect prices of materials imported into Taiwan.
When the prices for soybean, corn, and wheat increase, prices for flour and animal feed increase, ultimately affecting the customers.
Wheat is a main ingredient in flour, and our main provider countries are Russia and the United States. When Russia was hit with massive natural disasters, the price for flour increased.
In the past 10 years, the price of corn imports has increased from $116 per metric ton to $333 per metric ton, while wheat prices have gone from $170 to $430. The average yearly cost of agricultural imports is more than $6.8 billion. However, out of the island's 800,000 hectares of land, 1/4 of that is fallow, and of that, 30,000 hectares have been fallow for 5 years.
We need to examine if our land, water resources, and farming methods can produce enough agricultural output for self-reliance if we are suddenly faced with an emergency situation like climate change.
Tainan is where most of Taiwan's fallow land is located. Sun hemp is what farmers in Tainan plant during the fallow phase to keep the nutrients in the soil. However, some owners completely abandon their fields during the fallow phase.
The fallow land implementation has been going on for over 20 years. If these farmlands are not used for a long time, rodents and other pests become an issue. Most of Taiwan's fallow land is left unattended. Weeds will develop and the soil will lose its nutrients.
Jianan Plains is an alluvial plain with fertile soil suitable for farming, but many landowners will instead plant sun hemp to receive subsidies from the government. Fellow landowners can receive $1,500 of subsidies per hectare twice a year. The Taiwan government spends $38 million a year alone on these subsidies. Under the government's farming reform, each 50,000 hectares of fallow land can rest for one season while still receiving $1,500. The next season, however, they must produce a crop to offset imported goods. If farmers are unable to work their own land, they can rent out the plot for others to work, while still receiving up to $2,500 a year for agricultural subsidies.
We estimate that there are 90,000 metric tons of corn that can be grown each year, and this will save $38 million. If we spend the same $38 million a year in reducing our dependency on foreign imports while increasing our production of agricultural goods, isn't this the direction we should be heading?
Fallow land reform will be carried out on January 1st, 2013, and will be an important step in raising Taiwan's self-sufficiency rate by the year of 2020.
On November 21st, overseas Tzu Chi volunteers will return to Taiwan to receive their commissioner certification from Master Zheng Yan. Over last weekend, more than 600 volunteers gathered to tidy up the Banqiao Jingsi Hall, which will become one of the host venues.
Even though it was a rainy weekend in Taipei, over 600 volunteers assembled at the Banqiao Jingsi Hall bright and early to give the place a good cleaning. To warmly welcome volunteers from around the world who will be attending the Overseas Commissioners and Sichuan Training Seminar, volunteers in Taipei gathered to help. Some recruited their neighbors to assist, while others brought their entire family.
I come with the spirit of welcoming members of our Tzu Chi family from abroad. They come from so far, so we should provide them with a clean environment and greet these members of our Bodhisattva family with respect.
Although temperatures in Taipei have dropped, volunteers still work with enthusiasm, and the nooks and crannies that are usually neglected were scrubbed clean.
I am very happy to help organize this event to welcome back members of our Tzu Chi family from abroad. I hope that they will have a good time here and also feel a sense of clarity when they step into the spotless Banqiao Jingsi Hall.
I feel as if I was back in the military receiving training. The more energy I put in, the more joy and happiness I feel. Thank you.
Whether it's the main hall, corridors, classrooms, or even the restrooms, volunteers leave each place spotless. Each volunteer finished the day feeling happy and blessed, as through tidying up the hall, they were able to also put their own mental clutter in order.
Wind power has been widely used around the globe over the past decade, and Taiwan is one of the many countries that has invested in this green energy. To ensure these wind turbines run smoothly, a group of maintenance staff are assigned to take care of them. In today's feature reports on Taiwan's unique trade, we learned the work of a wind turbine maintenance staff.
Some 800 million kilowatts of electricity used in Taiwan last year was produced from wind energy. And these maintenance staff are assigned to care for these wind turbines.
This board will indicate the current state of this wind turbine. For example, its wind speed, whether it is running or not, or if it is idle.
For these staff, not only do they lack a high-speed elevator and aircon, the amount of equipment they carry is also no joke.
This is no more than 3 kilos. The heaviest that I have had to carry was above 4 or 5 kilos.
The core facilities of these wind turbines are situated some 60 to 70 meters above ground. And in the old days, when there was no elevator, one would have to take the stairs, which would take more than 10 minutes. Lifts were later installed to help with speed and safety.
以前是要带2瓶，1瓶喝完之后那个。
Before we have to carry 2 bottles of water. One of them, after we empty the water, we will use for, you know. Luckily, we have an elevator now, so if we need to use the toilet, we can use a bathroom at the bottom.
看异状，听声音，闻味道。
When it's alright, it's all good. But if there's a problem, we will have to stop the operation for a long time because the issues may be quite troublesome. It may either be the gearbox or the blades, which means we will have to bring in a crane for maintenance.
负责桃园以北。
We are also in charge of the 6 wind turbines at Power Plant 1 and 3 at Linkou, as well as 8 at Datan. In addition, we also take care of the 3 turbines at Power Plant 3 and the 2 at Jinmen, as well as the 12 at Guanyuan.
Inside the small cabin, one can barely stand up straight and stepping outside. Despite the beautiful scenery, one has to get used to the height of the wind turbine first.
The height here is about 70 meters, which is approximately 20 levels. This is nice breeze because we can still walk around. If the wind speed reaches 12 meters, you will feel the turbine shaking slightly. If my colleagues are up here for too long, they get dizzy. I have seen some that felt unwell and had to get down before they vomited. The wind speed around Taiwan is not stable and may change dramatically. It may be just 4 meters a second ago, and the next, it will suddenly jump to 12 meters. So within a short period of time, we have to respond, and each turbine is designed differently.
Wind turbines from abroad are designed differently, but it is the job of these maintenance staff to adapt and learn to manage these machines.
This
is an aviation obstruction light. If the wind turbine is above a certain height, it will influence the air route, so we will have to remind the aircraft of our presence. We come out here mainly to check the lights and meters, and if the blades are in good condition, or if there is a crack anywhere.
比如说有没有一些裂痕啊？可是上来之后就会发现，其实有点像登山。
Once you are up here, you will realize this is like mountain climbing. When you reach the peak, you get tired and you can take a break. It is a great way to release stress. When you sit in an office, you won't be able to see all this beautiful scenery.
上面的这种景色啊，这是他们的遗憾吗？
I think wind turbines are a new kind of green energy and different to the traditional way of generating energy. Wind energy is the trend of the future, so I think my job is quite interesting.
Seeing the wind turbines running smoothly under the sun is the goal all these maintenance staff work towards.
To encourage more people to donate their bone marrows to help patients in need, Kaohsiung Tzu Chi volunteers took to the streets explaining to the passers-by the process of donating bone marrows and answer any questions in hopes of getting more people to become donors. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.